Hi, I'm Jason and I love talking about gear. I'm a house music producer and I release songs regularly on a couple of different labels. And over the years, I have strategically bought and sold pieces of gear to where I am really happy with my setup. And so I wanted to dedicate a channel to talking about my gear and to showing you what it sounds like, showing you how I use it. Now, today I've got the Take 5 with me. I really love this synth. It's a 5-voice polysynth, analog, beautiful sound. And I have with it the Eventide, whatever floats your boat, Modfactor. And also I'm using the circuit tracks for a bit of reverb and also to give us some sequencing. Now, I've had another video on the Modfactor before where I'm showcasing the chorus. So if you want to go back and listen to that, it's on another video. But today I want to look at a few of the other options. I'm going to look at the Modfilter, the Tremelopan, and also the Tremelopan and also the Undulator. Okay, so let's dig in. All right, so just to let you hear what I'm working with on the Take 5, I've got just one oscillator going at full volume, and it is the Sawtooth. I'm putting up the vintage a little bit. That vintage knob, I really like it. It adds a little bit of movement to the pitch and also some irregularities to the cutoff filter and to the envelopes, and kind of gives it that, as it says, a vintage vibe. But I find it just kind of helps the sound a little bit more, creates a little more interest. I also have just a little bit of filter modulation going on with this second LFO. And when I turn this up, it adds just a little bit of pitch shifting. There you go, with the first LFO. So here's how it sounds opened up. Here's how it sounds with the envelope, and I've got velocity enabled so that the filter cutoff opens up more or less depending on how hard I hit the keys. And as you can see, I've got decay at around 12 o'clock. That's on unison, this is without. Beautiful classic tone. Now, okay, let's add the Modfilter. And I've got a sequence going here on the circuit tracks. And I find that the Modfilter is just a cool way of adding interest to the sound. And as you can see, this is how the depth is going, how far the depth. So in the Modfilter setting, this is basically another filter. And you can choose between a low pass, bandpass, or high pass. So we're going to hear what those sound like. As I told you, the depth is how much it's opening and closing that filter. And then the speed is obviously how fast the LFO is going and in terms of what's modulating the depth. You have different shapes. I'm using the sine wave right now. Here's how it sounds if I just play a note. So just kind of adds a bit of movement. I also like this X knob. It allows us to either keep it in the center or it allows us to move it from left to right to give it some width. And this intensity essentially adds a bit of resonance. So I'll put that at about 2 o'clock. All right, so I'm going to also use a little bit of bass from Synth 1, but here it is just the Take 5. And I've got a bit of sidechain going on. Bit of reverb, bit of delay. Gotta find the right rhythm you want. Cool. So it gives you a bit of an idea. Let's try it with the bandpass. So that is the Take 5 using the mod filter. Now let me show you what it sounds like with the Tremelopan. I keep saying that wrong. So it is what it says. It is going to give us a tremolo sound, and according to whatever shape we put it into. So that's something that's really cool about this pedal. You've got a lot of flexibility in the tremolo, and then the pan is through the X knob. So here, let's get the intensity going. So this gives us a bit of drive, and depth is how much it's going to go down to 0 in the volume. Let's open it up so you can really hear it. Here's another shape. Here's the triangle. Here's the peak. Very cool. Let's make it some width. Let's get a bit of a beat going here. That is cool. That's kind of a triplet feel. Cool. So that's the Tremelopan using type 1 here. And let's go to opto now. So that was bias. Now we're going to opto. Doesn't that sound nice? Here it is with a more dramatic ramp, kind of gives it like a plucky LFO sound. Nice. And then here is with the square, where it's basically turning it on and off, and it's going to have an even more dramatic sound to it. Yeah, that sounds so good. Such an easy way to add movement to your sound with the Modfactor on Tremelopan and the Take 5. Now let's move over to the Undulator. So I didn't know about this effect before. It is a classic effect on one of their older pieces of hardware, and it is actually available in plugin form as well for your DAW. Now, this thing, people talk about it online as it's worth the ticket price, basically. And I paid a very small amount for this pedal used, and man, it's so true. Some of these effects are just worth it, just worth the money right off the bat, and the Undulator is that. Now, from what I can tell, what's happening with the Undulator is it is giving you a delay sound and also mixing that with a tremolo sound. And you can do that according to the shape. So you get a whole host of different sounds to it. And it almost has a bit of a reverb effect to it. It is amazing for creating textures and for creating just ambient kind of landscapes, so to speak. So let's dig into that now. Now I'm going to use the sine first, and we're going to go with type pitch. Now, to be honest with you, I can't tell the difference very well between pitch and feedback in terms of the actual sound of it. Certainly the feedback, what it does is it allows you to use this knob as feedback. So it allows your delays, your echoes to kind of go on and according to the feedback, and the pitch doesn't have that. So it is a quicker stop to the delays. Beyond that, I think I'm hearing a little bit of a shimmer effect in the pitch. So maybe it is introducing like a soft octave up with the sound, but I don't know. You can tell me in the comments if you know a little bit more about the difference between the two of them. Would love to hear it. They don't really include a lot in the instructions in terms of the difference. Okay, so let's dial in a sound here just so you can hear what it sounds like. Now we're gonna have intensity down a bit right now. Actually, intensity all the way up so you can hear it. And depth, in basically, it's similar to how it works in the tremolo, where you're basically ducking out the sound the more you increase the depth. Now we're going to increase the depth. Isn't that cool? We can increase the speed. Now this sounds really good when you bring in a big washy reverb. Now I'm going to turn off the reverb. Let's change it to square, change the shape to square so you can hear it at a more extreme. This intensity is kind of nice. It acts as a mix knob. So this is with no effect when we start introducing the effect. So it comes alongside the dry signal. It eventually takes away the dry signal altogether. Increase the speed. Add some reverb. Yeah. Doesn't that sound so good? Now let's go over to feedback. And I like this one because it creates even more of an ambient effect that really trails on. Now let's slow down the speed so you can hear it, and let's go to a less dramatic shape. And we're going to introduce it slowly. The feedback is really up. Listen to that. sound nice. I'm gonna get the hold going. Increase the depth. That's the feedback going out. So that's the Eventide Modfactor using the Undulator effect as well as some of the other effects. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and let me know in the comments if you'd like to see some more things about the Take 5 or the Modfactor. Until next time then, take care.